Good day everyone, this is RMT Ricaforte, and today in Histopathology, we will be discussing about the automated tissue processing and rapid tissue processing, brought to yours truly by BSMLS2M Group 6. To start with, let us first define the terms. Automated tissue processing is a machine that allows specimens to be infiltrated with a sequence of different solvents, finishing in molten paraffin wax. Rapid tissue processing, on the other hand, is a type of processing that utilizes microwave heating techniques, which allows dehydration to be done in only one step and employs a four-step process involving a single change in ethyl alcohol and isopropanol, followed by two changes in paraffin. So on your left, as you can see, are the members of Group 6, the different RMTs which we'll be discussing to you today. First, automated tissue processing, which would be page 70 in Bruce Gregorius' Histopathology Techniques. Automated tissue processing is also known as tissue processor or tissue processor. It uses a large volume of tissues to be processed, and it is also more convenient and much more efficient. The steps in automated tissue processing involves an aqueous environment to start with, which is water-based, and it must be passed through multiple changes of dehydrating and clearing solvents, which are typically ethanol and xylene. It is also placed in a molten wax, which is hydrophobic and immiscible with water. The duration and step details of the processing schedule chosen for a particular batch of specimens will depend on the nature and size of specimens. So on your right, as you can see, is an automated tissue processor. The older design of an automatic tissue processor is a carousel type, which contains a cage in which the tissue cassettes are placed. This carousel has a number of glass beakers containing solvents and solutions, which ensure that the tissue is dehydrated and cleared for paraffin wax embedding. Tissue processing can be performed manually and automatically, but when there is a large volume of tissues to be processed, it is more convenient to use an automated tissue processing. Modern processors have a particular chamber in which the specimens are held in different solutions and pumped in and out of the chamber. In general, the whole process takes around 6 hours and is usually set up to run overnight. Tissues that come off the tissue processor are still in the cassettes and must be manually put into the blocks by a technician who must pick the tissues out of the cassette and pour molten paraffin wax over them. This embedding process is very important because the tissues must be aligned or oriented properly in a block of paraffin. If the processor is to be run overnight, it should be programmed to hold onto the first ethanol path and not finish until the next morning, so that the specimens do not sit in hot paraffin longer than the time indicated. So in this process, we need to be careful and be mindful lang of the time. Kaya dili siya pwedeng masubran, as with most processes in tissue processing. Processed tissues can be stored in the cassettes at room temperature indefinitely. Vacuum infiltration is the impregnation of tissues by molten medium under reduced pressure. So on your left, we also have another picture of the automatic tissue processor. The carousel vertically agitates the cape in each solution before moving on to the next solution in the dehydration or clearing method. There are different factors that impact the duration of tissue processing and extent of infiltration. There are four. First, we have tissue density and thickness. Second is agitation. Third is temperature, and fourth is vacuum and pressure. First, tissue density and thickness. Spongy tissues like lungs are usually more rapidly infiltrated than hard and dense tissues. Tissue thickness should be optimized for particular processing schedules, or alternatively, processing time should be adjusted to accommodate thick, thin, or large tissue blocks. So the amount of time na process sa isa ka tissue will depend on how big or how thick they are and how thin. Agitation using manual or automated processors increases the flow of fresh fluids in and around the tissues. Without agitation, tissues tend to settle to the bottom of the processing device or become too tightly packed, therefore reducing surface area available for fluid exchange. Third is temperature. Temperatures in the range of 37 degrees to 45 degrees Celsius for a limited time can speed up fluid penetration and tissue processing protocols. However, heat must be carefully monitored. High temperature can cause the tissue to shrink and become too hard and brittle. Low temperature, on the other hand, increases the viscosity of reagents used in tissue processing, thereby reducing the rate of diffusion and increasing processing time. This can be avoided by maintaining embedding waxes to 2 to 3 degrees Celsius above their melting points. Fourth, vacuum and pressure. Reduced pressure can increase the infiltration rate and decrease the time to complete the steps. High pressure facilitates infiltration of dense specimens with more viscous embedding media. Vacuum application during tissue infiltration improves processing quality and can aid in the removal of trapped air from the porous tissue. Vacuum applied during dehydration, clearing, and infiltration improves the quality of processing tissues, such as lung, which becomes deaerated during the process. So these are the 4 factors that impact the duration of tissue processing and the extent of infiltration. So sa ganito sila again. First is tissue density and thickness. Second is agitation. Third is temperature. And lastly is vacuum and pressure. So remember those 4 factors, guys. We also have technical considerations in processing these tissues. Baskets and metal cassettes should be clean and wax-free. Tissues should not be packed too tightly in baskets so as to impede fluid exchange. Processors must be free of spilled fluids and accumulated wax accumulations. Fluid levels must be higher than the specimen containers. Timing and delay mechanism must be correctly set and checked against the appropriate processing schedule. A processor log should be kept in which the number of specimens processed, processing reagent changes, temperature checks on the wax, baths, and completion of the routine maintenance schedule are recorded as part of the quality assurance program. Gentle washing and minimal thickness of cell layers will prevent the cells from detaching during staining. Make sure that there are enough sections to make a diagnosis and ensure that the reagents have been applied evenly to the slides. So dapat equal jud ang application, dili pwede masobra-sobra. Quality of stainings can be compromised by inadequate fixation and similarly by poor tissue processing. A good technician must evaluate and determine the processing of choice for each purpose, i.e., special stains on paraffin, frozen or cell smear preparations. Also make sure that glass slides are clean and free from debris. So dapat ang glass slides na to is walay hugaw. In general, needle biopsies and bloody specimens should be incubated conservatively, whereas fatty specimens can be processed for longer than average. So remember, bloody specimens should be incubated. Fatty specimens can be processed for longer than average. So for our next topic, which is the rapid tissue processing, I give the virtual floor to Nicole Cosmiano. Nicole?
Thank you, Marco. Rapid tissue processing. In recent years, efforts have been made to streamline the processing time by using microwave heating techniques. Rapid tissue processing has introduced dramatic changes into the practice of modern histotechnology. A rapid manual tissue processing method and recent microwave methods have shortened the processing times but do not reduce high cost and exposure to noxious chemicals. Firstly, we have the microwave processing. It can be 60% to 80% faster than conventional processing time with an hourly throughput of up to 120 specimens. Note that rapid tissue processing allows for rapid turnaround of tissue biopsies, is as effective as conventional tissue processing, and provides excellent morphology, nuclear detail, and cellular images. Beside it is the microwave tissue processor. By using a microwave oven, heat is generated from within the tissues which warms the tissue block uniformly in a short time. This results in faster penetration of tissue processing chemicals inside tissue, resulting in rapid processing for making paraffin blocks. Second, we have the microwave irrigation. It has been used to expedite tissue fixation and processing, yielding histologic material of similar or superior quality to conventional processing methods. This is also applied for fluorescence in situ hybridization, or the FISH, analysis of paraffin-embedded tissues. It also has its advantages. First, reduces the time required for fixation, decalcification, staining with chemical reagents, and incubation with antibodies. It is also routinely applied for special staining and has also been applied during fixation and subsequent staining procedures such as enzyme-based staining and immunofluorescence staining. Note that rapid manual microwave stimulated paraffin wax processing of small batches of tissues gives excellent results comparable to tissue processed, longer automated, non-microwave methods. The picture shows the schematic diagram of microwave irradiation. So, microwave irradiation can also be used for many histological and cell biological techniques without any loss of morphology or immunoreactivity. Modern devices are designed for laboratory use. So now, I will give the virtual floor to DJ.
Thank you, Nicole. So under the rapid tissue processing is the equipment. The equipment used in the rapid tissue processing can vary from the kitchen-type microwave ovens to sophisticated, semi-automated or automated instruments. These systems all have the same basic principles. The only distinct difference is the capacity of how each can accommodate and adapt to the differences in the laboratory needs and practice patterns. Microwave excitation of the molecules increases movement in the solutions and the tissues to improve tissue penetration and fixation, preserving many tissues antigen of diagnostic interest. Lower temperatures requires longer heating times, while the higher temperatures requires shorter heating times to achieve a standard and robust staining intensity. Microwave processing requires a scrupulous temperature maintenance, which is impossible with the use of kitchen-type microwave ovens, whose temperature and output power in watts are not precisely specified, leading to inadvertent overheating and miscalculation of the percentage output power. Because their magnetrons were not precisely controlled, early work with the kitchen-type microwaves resulted in uneven heating or uneven distribution of microwave energy, and sometimes unpredictable amounts of delivered energy affecting the tissue specimen result. Specifically designed microwave units have been developed which utilize a removable reaction vessel to hold the cassettes with manual reagent exchanges according to a predetermined schedule. These units represent an economical method for rapid tissue processing, but only on a relatively small scale. The only disadvantage to this equipment processor is that they are also somewhat labor intensive. I will now give the virtual floor to Joshua. Joshua?
This equipment can shorten processing time to 3 hours in a formalin-free environment using a microwave fixation. Large tissue slices greater than 1.5 mm thick may not equally penetrate chemicals, leading to inadequate cleaning and paraffin impregnation. The constant performance quick tissue processing approach integrates freshly obtained specimens to the processor every 15 minutes. This formalin-free method uses computer-controlled microwave delivery and temperature controls. Reagents are inexpensive, non-toxic, and tiny. Vacuum-assisted paraffin impregnation allows a processing cycle of 60 to 70 minutes without silane. It offers continuous, high-quality 1-hour processing of 120 specimens per hour, maximum standardized same-day diagnosis, and formalin and silane-free processing. Continuous throughput inserts 40 cassettes every 20 minutes and immerses specimens for 15 minutes in each of the 4 enclosed processing retorts using the standard program, yielding 960 cassettes in an 8-hour shift.
The most dramatic impact of rapid tissue processing has been in the same turnaround time from receiving the biopsy until microscopic evaluation and completion of surgical pathology reports, a significant departure from conventional surgical pathology practice. Microwave processing can be achieved 60% faster than conventional processing time, so that urgent cases can be signed out on the same day. In some institutions, the entire sequence of needle biopsy, tissue processing, slide interpretation, and immunohistochemistry for receptors has been carried out within about 4 to 5 hours. One critical aspect of using microwave techniques is ensuring that samples have been adequately fixed. While rapid tissue processing by microwave methods can accept a number of different tissue fixatives, non-formaldehyde fixatives have been shown to have several advantages. An alcohol-based fixative has recently been introduced which, when combined with a formalin-free microwave-based rapid tissue processing, has been demonstrated to permit the recovery of DNA, RNA, and proteins for molecular analysis. The universal molecular fixative, known as UMFIX, is a mixture of methanol and polyethylene glycol, and also it is an excellent and cost-effective alternative to formalin. UMFIX is non-volatile and active at room temperature. The morphology of UMFIX exposed tissue is comparable to that fixed in formalin, and high molecular weight RNA is preserved in tissue that is immediately fixed and stored up to 8 weeks at room temperature. The elimination of formalin in both fixation process and the processing has been improved the quality of antigen preservation in the tissue sections. An added benefit is the elimination of noxious formalin fumes from the workplace as well as the expensive ambient air formalin monitoring programs. Each laboratory should evaluate its fixation control methods to optimize the use of microwave processing. Converting to safer chemicals like less fumes, non-regulated disposal may include rotating smaller quantities more often, causing a net increase in chemical consumption. The safety benefits of removing undesired regulated waste in addition to calculating net volumes may offer immediate cost savings. Although mechanical or electrical faults occasionally occur in tissue processors, processing mishaps where tissues are actually compromised mainly occur because of human error. Inappropriate processing schedule or making fundamental mistake like perhaps in replenishing or sectioning or processing reagents can result in the production of tissue specimens that cannot be sectioned and therefore will not provide any useful microscopic information to the pathologist. So these are the precautionary measures. First, sections must be thin enough so fixative and dehydrating solutions can penetrate completely, which is about 1.5 mm. This may increase the time required in grossing of the specimens. Certain tissues like brain and large tissue blocks require additional steps before placing into the rapid tissue processor. Continuous flow processing eliminates batching of specimens and necessitates ongoing attention to the instrument. As samples complete the processing cycle, they must be removed from the instrument to accommodate the next basket of cassettes. Paraffin must be added to the microwave in liquid form as microwave energy will not melt paraffin pellets. Tissue must be brought to the boiling point of the intermedium, which is 82 degrees Celsius for ethyl alcohol and 78 degrees Celsius for isopropanol, which is in the last step, to flash evaporate the remaining ethyl alcohol or propanol.
Thank you so much for listening, and that would be all for our report from BSMLS2M Group 6. I hope you have a good day and I hope you learned a lot from our report. Thank you and mabuhay!